V asked to be in a relationship with JK, and this is causing a huge uproar online. We also have Koreans wanting to ban all BTS coverage and BTS type of content from the news, and then we have idols coming out and showing support over the recent DUI situation with Suga. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Desai, let's get into it. If you're not aware of what's been going on with Suga recently, he was asked to go down to the police precinct and do some questioning. A lot of reporters ended up showing up, but he actually didn't appear until much later. And when he finally did appear, the reporters were there taking pictures, and he actually went and answered some questions. He stood in front of everybody as the cameras were flashing. He basically gave an apology. He said that he's really sorry to all the people that he has disappointed, and he will try to do better and all that stuff. I don't know what journalists were expecting that he would say, because obviously these would be things that he would say before going. If he wanted to, he could consult a PR person, ask what he should say. Now, as far as I've seen, I didn't see him stand around and take questions from journalists, so again, I don't know what the point of all those journalists showing up was for, because getting that statement or that apology that he made wouldn't exactly be groundbreaking information that people would want to see. He wasn't saying anything that would constitute an exclusive. I think most people are aware that he would be sorry for what he's done. Now, the part that is really cool is just how many people came and banded together to support Suga. No matter what your stance on whether you believe what he did was right or wrong, a person, a human being, does not deserve to go through this immense amount of backlash. I do not expect that a human being would be able to take this amount of backlash and still be okay mentally. And this has led a lot of people to talk about how a lot of K-pop stars end up ending their life due to some of the more crazy types of backlash. There was an old friend of Suga that actually came out and posted something on his Instagram story that got a lot of people to be very excited and happy to hear that there are people in the industry that are still standing behind him. This goes without saying, there are going to be people that would stand behind him. I'm sure all of the BTS members would stand behind him, but they probably wouldn't want to actively talk about it, as that could potentially make the reputation of the boy group as a whole worse. But one of Suga's friends actually posted a screenshot to show Suga's song on the charts and ranking really high, as well as showing a photo of a concert that they did together and leaving the caption, "Everything will be okay." The message behind this is pretty obvious. They're trying to say that everything will be okay and that they stand by Suga. And not only do they stand by him, but obviously the community does if his songs are still ranking on the charts. This also is something that the community has actively chosen to do to combat some of the craziness that is going on. So the community has been actively trying to stream Suga's songs over and over and over again and get those streams really high to show support. And a lot of people in the community weren't sure whether he got the message, and that message being that the community will stand by him. The community, seeing that this friend has posted out about the song being on the charts and all those things, made the community feel like, okay, Suga has seen the message, he's received it. I think that's absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on over there in Korea right now, and a lot of people are trying their hardest to almost ban any BTS related headlines recently. They want to say that any journalist who talks about the situation that's happening, or anyone who is speaking negatively about the events, should be ignored. There's obviously pros and cons to this. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with ignoring opinions that you don't agree with or opinions that make you upset. But at the very least, you should acknowledge that those opinions exist. And if you don't like those opinions, then you don't have to engage with that type of content. However, a lot of people have been arguing and saying that the Korean media sites have almost been dehumanizing in this situation, gathering around by the tens or hundreds at a police office as if this is some sort of photo shoot or this is some sort of media event just to get Suga to talk, which is outrageous. Having hundreds, if not thousands of people say that Suga should get the same and equal treatment as anybody else who may be driving under the influence, but then at the same time not realizing that the tens of thousands of media sites that have been reporting on the story since it happened, that he has been receiving criticism since it happened. And if you want to talk about fair treatment, what other person who had a DUI punishment received that as punishment, like severe public humiliation? As a lot of the stories that have been reported about what happened were not actually things that had happened, and some of that was made up, but then it was things that was added into Suga's name. There's been this purple ribbon project where it's almost like holding back the community and basically saying that anyone who is talking about the situation negatively, they will not get attention from the community, and that is their way of drawing the line. And I think that that is absolutely the best way to go about things and should be how things go about in the future. If there's an opinion that you don't agree with, obviously don't interact with that opinion or that type of content. Don't leave hate, don't do anything, just don't watch it. The worst thing that someone can do to someone in the digital space is to just not care. Giving the person hate is not the worst thing that you can do in this community. In fact, some people would actually prefer that because they can still get paid off of hate. Even if you click on video and you decide to leave a comment, the fact that you clicked on the video and the video is potentially playing or whatever as you're leaving a comment, the creator can still get money from that. The fact that you just clicked on it signals to YouTube's algorithm that the content is something that someone wanted to click on, and thus they will then promote it to other people. So that helps as well. The best thing that anyone can do if you don't like someone is to literally just not interact. So I think if the community comes together and if they want to decide to ban any specific type of BTS related content, then that could definitely work. And I think a lot of people at that point will probably learn their lesson of not writing all these awful things or making up things, because no one will listen to it. Of course, we don't just have these crazy moments, we also have some fun and funny news coming out. Recently, Are You Sure has dropped, and there's been some new episodes that have come out. This is Jimin JK's reality show, and recently V has been part of the reality show too. So he's only going to be part of a few episodes, and then that's it. There was a scene where JK was cooking. Now, if you don't know, I think cooking is one of JK's passions. I think he really likes to do that. He's done it on his live streams. He's also done it for The Boys on various reality shows that BTS has shot. So for this reality show, JK cooked something for V. V was taken back by how delicious the food was that he actually asked JK if JK wanted to be his girlfriend. Now, if you're aware of the shipping community within the BTS community, you'll know how crazy this is and how this made the community go rabid. There's already this huge shipping culture within the community, and especially among JK and V. So when this question was asked and it was put into the reality show, the community would use it as proof, like, hey, look, they're together. They're even joking about it. I would actually probably argue and say if we're seeing it as a joke, it probably is beyond a joke. Like, it's literally not what they're thinking it is. Some people have said that this was an attempt at revealing JK's orientation and that he was secretly gay or more feminine, hence why V is referring to JK as a girlfriend. However, this was a joke, and it's partly the joke of a woman cooking a man's food. So it kind of falls in line with this idea of if two people were in a relationship, the woman would probably cook. At least that's my interpretation of the joke. I don't actually know what it's supposed to be, and there are also cultural differences on how a joke is laid out, so keep that in mind. So there were a lot of mixed opinions about this, whether it was a joke or whether it was something that was supposed to be more serious. But again, if it is something that we're supposed to be listening to and it sounds goofy and it could be seen as outrageous, just like being gay or queer in Korea would be considered to be more taboo, the fact that they're talking about it publicly would mean that it's probably not true. Also, the fact that the joke is V saying girlfriend, not boyfriend. So if V is someone that was actively seeking out male relationships, or were normally seeking out male relationships, he would not refer to a significant other as girlfriend. Some other people were concerned that if there were a lot more sexual references or shipping moments like this, that the show could potentially get banned or blocked in certain parts of Korea. Now, Korea has nothing against shipping moments. Korea has nothing against moments where two guys show more brotherly or friend love to each other. So even if it is more raunchy or more gay, but if it's only being portrayed on TV as brotherly or friend-like, they likely would not block it. It would just be considered something like two guys being really close friends. And I think we need to keep this in mind sometimes and be more aware that sometimes it's okay for two people to just kind of joke, and it does not really mean anything more than that. I would hate for one day them to feel like they cannot joke or that their jokes are going to be taken in a completely different way. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks. Just leave a comment right here. Love you. Bye.